Russian military planes crowd the U.S. for a fourth day in a row, folks. This is Evangelist Anita Fuentes, and you've tuned in to an Open Your Eyes, People quick news update. Reports are coming in that World War III tensions are on a knife edge as Russian nuclear bombers taunt the U.S. coast. Russia's nuclear-capable bombers have swooped on the U.S. once again as the world sits on a knife's edge. You have Moscow's warplanes blasting past the coast of Alaska for the fourth time, 4 days in a row, folks, amid tensions between Vladimir Putin and the Trump administration. Another pair of Tu-95 Bear bombers were spotted within days of two sets of the massive planes hurtling near the U.S. coast. Meanwhile, two Il-38 Maritime Patrol aircraft were also spotted flying over the Alaskan frontier with the Arctic. We also have reports coming in from defense officials stating the following. U.S. defense officials have branded the 4 flypasts as strategic messaging by Vladimir Putin. Also, Russian warplanes never entered U.S. space, according to the defense officials, but F-22 stealth fighters and Canadian CF-18s were scrambled to intercept. Bombers entered the Alaskan Air Defense Identification Zone as they passed the northern state. You know, U.S. defense officials, folks, are stating again that Vladimir Putin is just doing this for strategic messaging. I believe it's a little bit more than that. We are talking about a continued distress of nations. We know that the Russian administration is continuing to put their troops and military arsenal near the border of North Korea, and I believe that they're spying quite a bit on the U.S. to find out what our next move is. Anyway, Senator John McCain says Russian military flights near Alaska is intended to test Trump. I believe that's a very minimal. I believe that they're getting ready for a possible war that could break out if we continue, or if we actually do a preemptive strike on North Korea. Russian bombers escorted off Alaska coast again, folks. Please keep in mind these reports came out within the past 24 hours. For the fourth time in as many days, the U.S. military said it detected Russian military planes flying off the coast of Alaska, though they remained far away from penetrating U.S. airspace. Now, it says here each encounter has received a different response from NORAD. U.S. stealth fighters intercepted 2 Russian bombers Thursday night in worldwide airspace near the Alaska coast in the fourth encounter in as many days. Now, what I want to bring your attention to is this. Instead of sending the F-22s out like they did Monday, the Air Force deployed an E-3 Sentry warning aircraft. Well, what is the reason that the U.S. Air Force, would scramble an E-3 Sentry alongside 2 F-22s to intercept the Russian bombers off of Alaska? I want to go straight to the aviationist.com and read the article. For 2 days in a row, Russian Air Force Tu-95 Bear bombers flew near Alaska airspace. On April 17th, the U.S. Air Force scrambled 2 F-22 Raptor stealth jets, 1 E-3 Sentry AEW, which is an airborne early warning aircraft, and a KC-135 tanker, according to some reports. Now, this is to intercept the 2 nuclear-capable Bears flying roughly 100 southwest of Kodiak. The stealth jets took off from Joint Base Elmendorf, Richardson, and intercepted the Russian aircraft inside the ADs, which is the Air Defense Identification Zone, the airspace over land or water in which the identification, location, and control of civilian aircraft is performed in the interest of national security. ADIZs may extend beyond a country's territory to give the country more time to respond to possible hostile aircraft. In fact, it says any aircraft flying inside these zones without authorization may be identified as a threat and treated as an enemy aircraft, leading to an interception and visual identification, which is also a VID, by fighter aircraft. Here is some visual for you to take a look at here. The F-22 escorted the Tu-95s for 12 minutes. That's according to some 27 sources, before the Russian bombers headed back. On the following night, that is to say a few hours after the first visit, the Bear flew again inside the ADIZ, but this time the U.S. Air Force opted not to scramble fighter jets, but only the E-3, the Airborne Warning and Control System. Now, it's not the first time the Russian Bears fly in the ADIZ, not even the first time that no fighter jets have scrambled to meet them. Here's some more visual for you folks. So let's have a look at the first episode. I mean, it's worth of note that along with the 5th generation interceptors, NORAD called for an alert takeoff by an E-3 Sentry. Most of times, the quick reaction alert, which is also known as a QRA, takeoffs by armed interceptors are supported by tanker aircraft, not by AEW assets. The fighters are guided to the unknown aircraft by ground air defense radars, and that's why I want to draw your attention on this combined scramble. Launching the AEW along with the fighters is a tactics that allows the air defense to extend the radar coverage and to better investigate the eventual presence of additional bombers or escorting fighters flying embedded with the zombies, as unknown aircraft are usually dubbed in the QRA jargon. At the same time, the presence of an E-3 allows the Raptors to improve their situational awareness while reducing the radar usage and maximizing as much as possible their stealth capability, even though it must be remembered that F-22s and QRA usually carry fuel tanks that make them less invisible to radars. Now, a combined AEW and F-22 scramble provides a more effective way to counter a possible strike package. A long-range sortie is not easy to plan, even more so a strike sortie. The bombers are not only required to fly inbound the target and reach a convenient position to simulate the attack and weapons delivery, they also need to take in consideration many other factors. First of all, what is your goal? Do you want to train for a realistic strike, or do you want to spy or show your presence or posture? Other factors are distance from our own country, opponents' defense capability, minimum risk routing, according to the threat's presence of the defense counter-air, supporting assets, etc. Usually during a strike sortie, bombers are considered the high-value asset, the one that must be protected. For this reason, during the planning phase, they are always escorted by fighter and protected by the ground-to-air threats by means of the suppression destruction of enemy air defenses, which is also known as SEAD or DID. Or even electronic warfare, and everything is needed to let them be able to hit their targeted. However, escorting a strategic bomber is not always possible nor convenient, considered their limited range. The presence of the fighters would heavily affect the long-range planning, requiring support from multiple tankers along the route. Now, for this reason, although the Russians visit the West Coast quite often, they usually are not escorted by any fighter jet, as happens, for instance, in the Baltic region, where the Tu-22s are often accompanied by the Su-27 flankers. However, it's better to be prepared and trained for the worst-case scenario, and this is probably the reason why NORAD included an E-3 AEW in the QRA team, to have a look at the Tu-95s and make sure there was no sweep fighters or even a subsequent package. Anyway, based on the experience of professionals, the ones last week were just simulated strike sorties with only aim to test the U.S. tactics and reaction time, something that happens quite frequently. There's also the chance the Bears were sent there while another Russian spy plane was in the vicinity to do a type of sniff, the Raptors' electromagnetic emissions. However, there are no reports of LL-20 Elint aircraft in the area. So, guys, this is, I find it very interesting, again, how much more often is Russia going to be crowding the U.S. with their nuclear bear bombers? I don't take any of this stuff lightly. I hope you don't either. We have to understand the times in which we're living in and know that war, I mean, I don't want to admit this, but we kind of have to here, folks. War can break out at any time. It's my prayer that you're saved, that your name's written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Give your life to Christ, for the day of the Lord is at hand, folks. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter. Visit us on our website, www.openyoureyespeople.com. The day of the Lord is at hand. Call on the name of Jesus and you'll be saved. Bye-bye.